I'm going to make now is a little breaded chicken using fresh breadcrumbs and a little Cajun sauce. Chicken legs. There's nothing better to chew. Bone out the chicken leg. And the bones I reserve to make a little more stock. I added some chicken stock and water to the bones, and we're going to reduce this, and we're going to be able to make an even tastier sauce later on. The first step in making this dish is to season the chicken with some Cajun seasoning. We'll do that on both sides. And just a little bit of sea salt, because there is salt in the Cajun seasoning. Next we'll get the batter going. And the chicken leg is still cooking. I threw a bay leaf in there for flavor. Let that simmer for a little while. Throw 1 egg and a teaspoon of salt. Sea salt. Whip that up. We eliminate a step this way. We will be dipping the chicken into this batter. Just enough flour to make it to look like a pancake batter. And you dip the chicken in here. This way you don't have to go with flour, then eggs, and breadcrumbs. It's a much faster process. That's good enough. See? Not too thick. The next thing I get ready is the breadcrumbs. I don't like using breadcrumbs that you buy in the store. The finish isn't there, so we'll use some fresh white bread. Not stale, fresh. Put it in the Cuisinart, run it a little. You'd be surprised how nice that texture is when it's cooked. Now we'll take the chicken, place it in this thin batter, coating it nicely. And place it onto the breadcrumbs. I'll just turn it a few times in the breadcrumbs. Press it down, back again, press it down. That's it. The next step, we'll cook the chicken on a moderate flame, not too high, and a thick bottom skillet. To get even cooking in this type of skillet, we'll put some olive oil. You want to mix butter with olive oil, that's just fine. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm just going with olive oil today. And enough, because those fresh breadcrumbs really soak up the bread, the oil. Now we'll go about sauteing the chicken. Just lay it nicely into the oil. And just wait. There, nice and slow. We're going to cook it through on top of the stove, so we don't need a high flame to burn it on the outside. Set the timer for 12 minutes. If it's less, I'll let you know. At the 4-minute mark, I checked it, looked at the color, and turned it over. Look how beautiful that finish is with those fresh breadcrumbs. Now I turned it back over again, and now we have a lot of color. Now lower the flame to a simmer, because I want this chicken to finish cooking but not burn. And right now we're closing in on the 8-minute mark. I turned the chicken over once more at the 9-minute mark. I think we got this one done. It should take 12 minutes. We'll see. That's a 12-minute mark, and we are done. See the inside of the chicken? You still want it moist and juicy, so please don't overcook it. That was exactly 12 minutes. Now we'll go about making the sauce. We're going to use the same skillet for the sauce. This oil that's in there, we're going to pour that off. We don't need that much oil. Now on a moderate flame, we're going to add 2/3 cup of onions, finely diced, 1/3 cup of finely diced green pepper, and 1 teaspoon of fresh diced garlic. We'll let this saute for a few minutes. Very little oil is needed because we don't want to have a greasy sauce. Let this saute gently for a few minutes. While this was sauteing, still nice and clear, light flame. We don't want to burn the onions and the peppers or anything that's in there. I strained the stock, which gave me a 1/2 pint of reduced stock with the bones. And if you didn't get that much, you just add a little water, because I like to play with a half a pint for two plates of chicken, and we just pour the stock over this. I'm not going to make the sauce in here because this pan is too large, but I poured the stock in here for the simple reason to pick up all the flavors that are in this pan. It's like deglazing it. Now I'll put this back in here, and we'll finish the sauce in this little skillet. Now to help it out with that little Cajun flavor, we're going to use the dark brown roux, which I use in making the etouffees. I'll take 1 tablespoon of the brown roux and place it in there. And take my whip. This sauce is going to be placed on the plate, not over the chicken. This is breaded chicken. You don't want to ruin breaded items by pouring sauce on the top, except if you're making veal or chicken or eggplant parmesan. That's a horse of a different color. I've added a 2nd tablespoon of the dark brown roux, which should be enough. Let this simmer for about 7-8 minutes, and we'll see how it looks at that point. To the sauce, I've added 1/4 teaspoon of hot sauce and 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. The texture of this is perfect. I'd like to show you the finished plate, but this is going to be my dinner tonight, so what I'm going to do is this sauce will be a little more thicker. Later when I reduce it, just bring it to a boil for about 3-4 minutes. I'll put this on the plate, put the chicken on top, and then whatever else I'm going to have will be on the side.